Thank you to our episode sponsor, I-40 First in Amarillo, Texas. It is a one-stop shop for primary care, urgent care, and aesthetic medicine. Dr. Helito Ui, George Peterson, and their skilled team offer affordable, conveniently located medical care and medical spa services provided by a friendly, qualified staff. We are pledged to provide distinctive quality and unparalleled patient service as we strive to gain the respect and trust of our patients, suppliers, partners, vendors, and community. Thank you again for your sponsorship of this episode of All Things Foster, a place for coffee, connection, and community.
Hello and welcome to All Things Foster, a place for coffee, connection, and community. Our episode title today is Aging Out, the challenges foster youth face and how we can help. So I'd like to welcome our guests to the show today. We have Amber White, who is the Executive Director of Fostering Independence, and Jazlyn, a young woman living in fostering independence housing, and share her personal journey. So thank you guys so much for being on the show today and hopefully raising awareness for both the organization, but also the struggles that kiddos coming into care, and then once they hit that threshold, what their experience is like. So, Jazlyn, if you don't mind, just a little bit of an introduction, who you are.
Jazlyn. I'm 21 years old, and I have been in foster care since I was about 14 years old, so I've always lived in it. I've been used to having people around me all the time. I was what you considered a higher level of care, so I was in lockdown facilities, 90-day shelters, things like that. So I was always used to like having to ask to go to the restroom or ask to go to my room. I didn't have the quote unquote normal life. So when I got to about the time I turned 18, I was living at the Amarillo Children's Home. I love that place. They helped me do amazing things. But when I did get to that time, I was ready. I was ready to leave CPS. I didn't want nothing to do with them anymore. I wanted to have my own life. I wanted to be in charge of like what I can do. I didn't have to rely on anybody. I was just ready to be grown, you can say, because that's what we were ready to be. We're so ready to be grown until you like hit that real world. And honestly, I did not do very good at all. I plummeted so fast. I went to WT, and I went from having a staff with me 24/7, even at nighttime, to not having nobody at all. And my roommate that I had was never there. She never lived there. So I was by myself. And my mental health like plummeted fast and quick. I went into this deep depression, and I would just sleep all day and not go to class. And like I said, I was in CPS in high school, so I didn't have that partying lifestyle. I didn't get to go hang out with my friends, to spend a night with anybody. So when I went to college, I just acted a fool.
Yeah.
Like,
Did you
so
have,
bad.
when you turned 18 and you moved out and went to WT, did you have anybody in your life, any support mechanisms at all?
Yes and no. Like I said, people were around me and they said, like, oh, we're still here, like the children's home, for instance. Like, we're still here, Jazz. Like, you're okay. Like, you're going to be fine. I thought I had such a good support, but I didn't. And so like my foster parents, or the house parents that I had, they ended up leaving my senior year prom. Right after prom, they left, and they were like my parents, like very, very, very close with them. I still talk to them to this day. And so when they left, that was like a piece of me that left. And then I chose WT because my mentor slash like, I call him like my dad. He lived in Canyon, and he was 3 minutes from WT. So I was like, if I need anything, Schiller's right there. Like, I will be okay. That's the only reason I chose WT. So I thought I was going to be okay. And he took a job in Austin that he couldn't turn down. And so he was no longer there. And then also somebody that I had as my night staff that was like my grandma. She was like my safe place. She left a month before I left too. And so like my support system was no longer there. So I had them, but went their own ways. So I necessarily didn't have nobody. And I was in Canyon. So everybody was at least 30 minutes from me. So I didn't have necessarily people right there. In the beginning, I was going to, like I said, but life had other plans for them, which is okay. So I do think if I had support a little bit closer, maybe it could have been different. But at the same time, I don't think it would have because of how I was. Like I said, I was by myself all the time. I was now in control of what I did, where I could go, who I hung out with, what time I got home. Like I had curfew every night. I was home at 10:30 every day. Now I can stay out till 3 in the morning. Now I can go party and now I can go do all this stuff. So guess what I was doing? I was doing all of that because I didn't have that opportunity in care. So suspension or probation first. I think they did probation first. And so they were telling me, like, you need to get, like, going with your class. And I actually was in WT SIL program. It was their first year opening, so they did not know what they were doing. They weren't really a SIL necessarily. We would meet once a week, and they would, like, talk to us about stuff, and they would just talk to stuff, like, that had nothing to do with what we were going through, like, at all. Like, certain random stuff, like communication and like little things like you should be going over here and you should be doing this, and they were on top of me and like on top of me in a way that was not working with me. So I stopped talking to them, and like they weren't supportive, so I didn't go to them. Like I could have went to them, but I didn't feel comfortable enough to go to them and be like, hey, I'm struggling. Like that's another big thing about me is I don't know how to ask for help. I can be so low on the ground, but I'm strong. I can do it by myself. I've always had to do it by myself. I'm going to do it by myself. I'll get myself back up. And so that's why it took me so long to ask for help. And I think a lot of kids are like that. They think that they can do it on their own. They've done it on their own their whole life. That what's different now. And that's not true. Like there's people out there that love you and care about you and that will love to take care of you and help you, like Amber and her program.
So, do you know how many, you said you came into care at 14. Do you know how many placements you had between 14 and 18?
Oh, a lot. A lot. Like I said, I was higher in level of care because I was bad. I was fighting, I was running away, I was getting kicked out. I probably went to 50 to 60 placements. I went to 6 high schools my freshman year, 5 my sophomore. My junior year, I went to like 3, and my senior year, I was able to only go to 1. So I went to a lot of schools, and those were only public schools. Most of the time, I was at a charter school, so I had to add those too. So that's probably like 12 more added because we weren't allowed to go to public school. We had charter school. Probably like 50 to 60 placements. I didn't stay in a place too long. The longest placement I probably stayed was the children's home, and it was for over 2 years, maybe, or about 2 years. Every other time I was there a month, I'd run away. I was there 2 months, I'd run away. And I'm from Lubbock, but they would keep me in Dallas and Houston far, 6, 7, 8 hours away because they would think like, oh, she's not going to run. But then it stopped me. I still ran, which was very dangerous.
For sure.
Yeah, very, very dangerous. I could have been in a different situation.
So how did you find out about Amber and fostering independence? What happened?
So when I got kicked out of school, I went to live with my boyfriend. And so one thing I will say, when you turn 18, you either go to like your biological family, or you'll go to some family, or you'll go with friends, or you'll go live with a boyfriend. And sometimes it's not the best places when people leave. Like most of the time, like I know a lot of people personally will go, I'm going to go live with my mom when I get out of CPS. Well, I don't care. I'm going to go live with my family. And that's what I did. I went to go live with my boyfriend and got pregnant. And so I did not know what I was going to do. It kind of took a turn. We got a little toxic. His mom found out I was pregnant and kicked me out. And so I was like, what am I going to do? Like, what? So I called my biological mom and I had her come get me from San Angelo. So I moved, I packed everything and I left. And I moved to San Angelo, and it wasn't very good. Me and my mom don't have a good relationship. We are so much alike that we butt heads. And my sister and her, like, if my mom was talking crap to my sister will sit there and cry and take it. Me, I'm not. I'm going to talk my crap back and you're going to hear my mouth because I'm not going to let you talk to me like that. And so we just didn't get along. We kept butting heads. So we ended up going to Lubbock for a trip or something, and I had to ride with her because I just wanted to go, I guess. And we got in an argument right by Texas Tech University. There's like a Dollar Tree. We're at a red light, and she's screaming to get the F out of her car. And so I get out of her car, and I'm nothing in a crop top and pajamas and the Crocs on my feet and just my phone. And she kicked me out and she left. And she left me. So I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, I am pregnant. Nobody knows I'm pregnant. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I'm now in Lubbock. So I called some people from Amarillo, and I was like, hey, like, my mom just dropped me off here. Like, I'm in the middle of nowhere. What do I do? So my friend was like, my friend lives right there. I'm going to tell her to come pick you up, and I'm on the way. Like, I just stay at her house till I get there. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And so I've never met this girl. And she was like, hey, I'm Bailey's friend. Like, come here. And she was like, just stay here. Like, Bailey's on the way. You're fine. Like, everything's going to be okay. And I'm just in tears. And I'm just screaming and crying. And my sister and my brother are calling me and cussing me out. And my mom's telling them like a whole nother story. And that I just jumped out in the middle of the road. And so I'm like, dude, what am I going to do? Like, I'm
And you're how old at this point?
20.
20.
And so I'm like, dude, what am I gonna do? Like, I have a baby. Like, I don't think I can do this. So I'm living in the dorm with my friend. Like, I'm not supposed to be doing this. And I'm there, and I'm like, trying to figure out a plan. And Bailey, I'm sleeping like on the ground under her like bed, basically, is where I'm staying. Like, when she goes to class, I'm just in there. And so it was like rough. And so I was like, I have to do something because she got caught. And her RA was like, she needs to leave or you're gonna get like a $15,000 like fine. And so I was like, "Ugh, I will go, Bailey. Like, I promise you." So I'm like freaking out. I call the people from the children's home. I'm like, hey, like, what do I do? And so she's reaching out to people. She's calling people. I got connected back to my CPS people, and they're like, you can sign yourself back into care and we can get you a placement. And I'm like, dude, there's nothing else to do but that. Like, I'm homeless. I have nowhere to go. I have no one, family, nothing. What am I going to do? So I was like, okay, fine. Like, what do I need to do? Send me the papers. They sent it via phone. I'm signing all the documents, signing myself back into CPS. And I'm like so mad. I'm like, dude, I hate this. Like, here we go again. I'm grown and now I have people telling me what to do. So I'm just like, I'm not doing good. And I ended up going to another SEAL program that's here in Amarillo. It's not Amber's. And me and them were just not a good fit. I just was not in a place in life where I was ready to hear anybody. I needed a little bit different support than they were necessarily offering me. So I moved out. I moved out and I got a apartment with a friend that was also at the children's home with me, and she was also living at that SIL. And so many people told me, don't do that, Jazz. Don't do that. Like, it's not a good idea. Are you sure she's, like close with you like that? And I'm like, yeah, like, I've known her for years. Everything's going to be fine. Like, she's not going to do nothing. And I'm on bed rest because my pregnancy was horrible. I was on bed rest for 6 of the 9 months. I threw up 50 to 60 times a day. Like, it was horrible. I survived on water through a straw and saltines my whole pregnancy. Like, it was horrible. So I wasn't able to work. So I told her, like, I'll furnish the whole house if you pay first 3 months rent till I have her. And once I can get a job, like, I'll take over. And she was like, okay. And we were there for a month, and she quit her job. And nobody's working. So I'm like trying to figure stuff out. So me and Jaden are trying to get our money together, trying to figure out stuff, and we're working it out, and we figure it out. And I go and I'm going in for my induction, and I have her, and I just got out of my C-section, and I get all these texts, and my phone is just blowing up. And she kicked us out the day I had my emergency C-section of our apartment. Yes. Okay. And I'm like still drugged. I'm still kind of like out of it, and I'm like freaking out. I just had my baby.
Yeah.
Like, I just had her through an emergency C-section, and you're gonna do this? Like, really? So my boyfriend and my family, they went and they packed up all our stuff and got it out. And so I'm like, dang, like, what am I gonna do now? Like, where am I gonna go? They told me that this was gonna happen, and I didn't believe them. And so I was like, okay, well, now what? So we went to go back, and I lived with Jaden's family. And
In San Angelo?
No, here.
Okay.
So I lived here, and I was living with his family, and they're amazing. I love them. But me and Jaden were not doing good. I need to figure out a plan. And so my best friend's cousin is actually in Amber's program, and she was like, just talk to Amber. And I was like, no, I'm about to turn 21. There's nothing she can do for me, like, at all. Like, I can't. Like, there's no point of even trying. And so she's like, are you sure? And so, like, I'm reaching out, and once again, I'm trying to find a place to go because I'm ready to move out of Jaden's house. And so I'm like, come on. And so I'm reaching out to people, and people are reaching out to me. And it's funny because like 6 people reached out to Amber about me. And it was so cool. And so finally, I met with Amber, and she kind of was like, so I want you to come. And I was like, but I'm about to be 21. Like, you don't understand. And she was like, I don't care. Like, it's fine. Like, it's good. I'm like, but I have a baby. And she's like, it's okay. We love babies over here. And so I'm like, okay. Like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah. And so I went and I came into Amber's house, and I absolutely loved it from the get-go. I felt safe. I felt calm. My brain was like not going 1,000 miles per hour. I felt okay. Like, I was somewhere I knew I was going to be okay, and my baby was going to be okay. And from there, I think it just kind of excelled. I call her like every day on a daily basis just to call her.
Yeah.
My baby loves her so much. Oh my gosh. She said Amber before she said Mama. If that explains anything to you, that shows it. So
Yeah.
I love Fostering Independence, and they've helped me so much. Sometimes I don't work like I said. Right now I'm in the middle of jobs, and so I was like, I need diapers, Amber. Do you have diapers over there? And she's like, what size? Size 4. She's like, okay, on the way. Because we have like a pantry that's like baby stuff, and so I know like if I need something, I can call Amber, and we have a pantry. So I love that we have that in our SEAL program, and like I want to be able to tell everybody about the SEAL program, especially girls that have babies, because we take babies and we take mommies, and I've been there, and I'm actually the first and I think only junior board member of Fostering Independence. So yes, I'm excited. And so I love it, and I just love to advocate and get it out there that there's support, and don't leave CPS at 18 and feel like you have nobody, and go down that path when you have people that will love and support you and be over here if you need you.
That's absolutely heartbreaking and amazing. Right? I mean, the reality is your story is not unique.
No,
It's not.
it's something you probably hear a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know you said you're interviewing for a job. But what is moving forward? What's the plan? I mean,
Yes, so I am not in this one of her houses anymore. I actually have my own house. So yes, I love it. So right now I'm working on a job, and then the next big step for us and me and Kalani is getting a car. So I had one, and like I said, it got totaled. So the next step is getting a car so that I have reliable transportation. And then eventually next semester, the plan, it's my goal, my personal goal is just to have a car by next semester so that I can go back to school for EMS at AC. Yes.
Okay, awesome. So how are you getting back and forth to this job?
Amber helps out with stuff.
Yeah, right.
To get to and from work. My baby's dad is very much involved with us, and so he takes me to and from. We co-parent. I have her on the weekdays. He has her on the weekends. So,
Okay.
and they live 6 minutes from me, literally. So if I need something, if I need to go to the store, Kalani needs something, I give Amber a call, and if Amber can't do it, then I call him.
And it's Colony. Kalani.
Yes, my baby is Kalani Faith King.
And he's how old now?
She is 11 months. No, you're okay. She'll be 1 next month.
Okay.
Yes, we're planning her birthday, so we're excited.
Very cool. So technically, you're not even in Amber's program.
I graduated successfully from her program,
but she's still there.
Yes.
Every step.
Yes. So with what we did, so if you age out of Amber's program, she's able to help you past 21. Like I said, I am 21. Usually help stops from CPS around 21. Like they just kind of like, hey, you're on your own now. We've got to help you up to this point. You should be fine. But when you graduate from Fostering Independence, they're still able to help you with certain things. Like we have a car savings program that I do with Amber. There's multiple different things that she's able to help you. Life skills classes where you can get money for your car savings program and stuff.
Awesome.
Yep. So even though I'm not technically in her program, I'm still a part of her program.
Right.
Yeah, I still go to holidays. Like we had a big, was it Thanksgiving? Christmas party. We had a big Super Bowl party. Yeah, so just because I'm not technically in CPS, Amber's still very much involved.
That's awesome. Okay, Amber. We're hearing lots of awesome stuff. Tell us first a little bit of the backstory. Where did Fostering Independence come from? How did it get to here where you're helping young women like Jazlyn?
Okay, so The backstory is kind of funny, but my husband and I were actually looking for a house to buy for ourselves. We're very picky, so we spent about 2 years finding a house. We found one that we just loved. We fell in love with it, and it had a mother-in-law's quarters in the back of it. So my husband's talking about what we're going to do with that, because we have rental property. So my first thought is, well, let's rent it out. And he said, no, not, right in the back of our house, right? So I started thinking, and I've just always had a heart for foster care. And I know that there's limited resources for those who are aging out. So I called St. Francis Ministries, which is like, CPS in our area. And I asked them, I said, could you find just like maybe like a young lady who's aged out of foster care, maybe trying to go to school or something. She could live there for free. I wouldn't charge her anything. I wouldn't be in her business, but if she needed me, I'd be there. And they said, actually, we can find you a whole lot of those.
Oh.
I said, I just want the one. And so
no nonprofit at this point.
No, not at all. This was just, I just thought that would be a great use of that room.
Yeah.
My husband was talking about making it a reptile room, and I said, we could do something better. So they started telling me, they said, there's actually a program available for these kids once they've aged out of foster care that can help them like kind of, bridge that gap from foster care to independence that is for ages 18 to 21, and no one in Amarillo is doing it. Me being like just my personality, I said, I can do that. Like, what I can handle that. And so we started talking, and they were like, okay, well, since no one is offering this, like, we want to definitely help you explore this. And so we kind of set up some meetings, and we had put in an offer on the house, and I hadn't told my husband what my plans were with that room, and the rest is history. So a couple weeks later, the guy that we were buying the house from decided he wanted to keep his home. He didn't want to sell it to us anymore. So we were kind of disappointed there, but the ball was already rolling on this other stuff. So I asked my realtor, I found an office building downtown, and I said, I want you to show this to me. And she said, I don't understand why we're doing this, but okay, let's go. So we go in, we walk into it, and I mean, like, you walk in, there's like a little office, and then there's like bedroom. I said, this is perfect. This is what I need right here. And she's like, why are we here, Amber? I said, well, I think I want to open something for kids who've aged out of foster care. So, and it was like it was made for me. The woman that I bought it from only owned it for 6 months. It was like a total, complete rehab project for her. She was a counselor. She was going to rent out the other rooms to her counselor friends. And then when it came time, I guess she had some people backing out, and she, didn't want to be the landlord. So she just decided to sell. And I swear to you, she made it for me. Like, it was perfect. So I called my husband right there, and I said, okay, that money that we were going to put down on that big, beautiful house? He said, yeah. I was like, I want to take it and buy this place down here. And he was like, okay, what are we doing with that? And I said, I want to put 4 girls in it. And he just kind of lets me do what I want to do. So he said, okay. And so I put the money down on it. I talked to St. Francis. I said, I can have this up and going in like a month. Like, let's go. And they were like, they were kind of, I don't think they really believed me, but so they were a little skeptical, but they were like, all right, we're ready. We'll start planning with you. So there was a few things that did need to be done. There wasn't a shower because this was actually an office building. And so there wasn't closets in every bedroom. So we started working on stuff like that. My husband was working every single weekend over there at that house. And I joked that, if he had known that when he said yes, that he would spend a solid year at that house every weekend, he probably would have said no. But
and you still don't have a nonprofit,
no, not at all.
Yeah,
because it's just things that are just, I mean, it's just happening, it's just snowballing. So anyways, he's working, and then we start running into issues with like the plumbing and city permits and all this stuff, because it's actually zoned commercial, and like it was a mess. So then it was like we were in this waiting phase, and I was getting so frustrated because all I wanted to do was put some kids in it.
Yeah.
And so while we were in the waiting phase, I found another house that I liked, and it was ready. All we had to do was put furniture in it. So I bought it. And so that house actually opened first. And so we did things kind of backwards, but it worked out in the end. We kept working, things are great there. So now we have 4 homes, and I just bought a duplex.
Oh my gosh. Why didn't you get the second 2? How knew you had 2?
Amber buys houses like you change clothes. I get under her all the time. Like last year, we had so many conversations. She's like, oh, "Cute house." No, Amber. I'm focus on the one we have right now.
So you have 4 houses now.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. That's also sad.
Yeah, so we just bought a duplex, which is 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom on each side. It's adorable. I'm so ready. I'm excited. We have somebody moving in tomorrow there. So the way that our homes work is basically our initial home, like where my office is, we have a lady that stays the night there 5 nights a week. So that's like our first step. There's no curfews. There's no, we're not like really breathing down your throat, but it's a good first step from foster care to have a little bit more support, a little more guidance if you need it, somebody to come pick you up from work, somebody, that kind of stuff. So we have 3 phases to our program, and it's called Foundations, Fundamentals, and Future. So that's where everybody comes in, and we're working on our foundations. We're working on how to support ourselves with our own food, taking care of our own transportation, stuff like that. But in the meantime, we're helping a lot with all of that stuff. So until they're actually ready to make those steps, we're there to help them.
Right.
And so once those kids are taking on more responsibility, and for some it takes longer than others, it's just dependent, but once they're ready to take on more responsibility for their own lives and like providing for their own hygiene and just baby stepping their way towards independence, but that's when they can move to like what I call the big kid houses. And there's no cameras on the doors, there's no rules about your friends coming over, there's you really have a lot more freedom, but you've proven that you're responsible enough and you can handle it. So we want to make sure that it's not an all or nothing approach. Like, in foster care, that's a lot of what it is. It's you get everything taken care of for you. You have all the rules, all the things, and then you turn 18 and then it's nothing, just like Jazz was saying.
Yeah.
And so, that's something that we recognized as well. And we want to make sure that we can baby step that. So that's where we walk them through the phases. So they're taking off. So when they move to the big kid houses, they also pay for their own internet. So, it's just little steps at a time that they are building on. And it gives them some confidence and, a sense of accomplishment too.
Just some skills, life skills of, okay, I got this bill and I got to pay this bill every month. And how am I going to pay it?
And we figure out how to get them started and how to, how do you set up your internet? Okay, that's something we can work on.
Budget your money.
Yeah.
We all have budget planners that she gives us as soon as you get there. So
Okay.
Yeah, so we're just kind of working little by little. It's all very individualized. Some of us know more in certain areas than others. And so it's just all very individualized on what are your goals? Where do you want to be? How do we help you get there? And then I'm really more there for accountability and support in you reaching the goals that you choose for your life.
So you get the kind of the intro home, and then the bigger home, the big kid home you call it, and then the other 2 are
so
for girls that have gotten.
We only have like the intro home, and then all the rest are like big kid houses.
Okay.
So the duplex, we've kind of recognized also that shared housing is not, that's what these kids have grown up in. We're kind of getting over that, we're ready to move on. So they come into the first home, which is shared housing, because we can have 4 girls there. And then when they move, we have 2 homes that could potentially be shared housing. We have some girls that are really social and they need that, and they want to have a roommate. But then that's why I bought the duplex, because it's 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom on each side. So you have some that do better on their own. And, so that way we can just really tailor the right fit.
Right. So talk to me, how many girls have you served? How many girls are in the program right now? Do you know?
I always have to think about that, because like Jazz says, like when they turn 21, I don't
kick them out the door. See you later.
Like they're still part of our family. So I have to think about how many of them are under 21, So we have 6 that are under 21.
And out of how many? How many girls? Let's just focus on girls. Do you know how many girls in the 26 counties age out in a given year?
I don't know in the 26 counties. I know in Texas it's about 1,200 a year, but that's total.
Just girls?
No.
Oh, girls.
There's not actually, I have not been able to find those statistics to give me like a real concrete answer there.
Sure. So 1,200 per year
In the state of Texas.
age out.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So I know you talked about, so it's kind of an all or nothing thing. There are resources available to them if they stay in care, right? So
Right.
talk to us about, what does that look like? What kind of support mechanisms do they get if they stay in care as opposed to just...
Sure. So staying in foster care, I think that's the main reason that most of these kids don't want to go to a program like ours, because it's staying in foster care. They're
Right.
done with it,
Yeah.
right? And like, I can't say that I blame them, but there's really a lot more freedom than what they think. And every place is going to be different and have their own rules, but for us in particular, like, we don't hold them down. Like, we're not going to let them go and do something that's going to be harmful to themselves or anything like that. But we let them make their own decisions, and natural consequences is something that we deal with a lot, and it's a safe and supportive place for them to learn that maybe that wasn't the best practice, but for support wise, they basically would get free housing. We help them with transportation to and from work and school. We help with obtaining their goals, like whatever it is, whether it's GED or diploma or enrolling in college. We can help with school supplies, stuff like that. And so it's just really individualized. It's just kind of, but just the extended foster care piece of it means that they get the housing covered as long as they're working or in school.
And then the state, if they've been in care at any point in their life, the state does college, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes, so they get
like a voucher that you can use that pays for all of your tuition up to a doctorate in multiple degrees. But the crazy thing about it, not a lot of people use that.
Right. Yeah. What did you say? The
3%.
3% in the state actually use.
I think it's 3% overall. Like, will actually obtain a degree with it.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that has a lot to do with, when you age out, you're not worried about going to school. You're worried about, how am I going to feed myself today?
Right.
And where am I going to sleep tonight? And then you got to immediately get a job. And then if you end up pregnant and there's just lots of things that just kind of, it's like life is happening to you. You don't have a support system, or you don't.
Because talk to us about, so let's say I'm 18, I'm in a foster home, and let's say I turn 18 in March, and then I finish out the school year, and then what? If I'm understanding correctly, they can't stay in the home that they're in.
They can if the home allows it.
Okay.
Yeah, so like with me, I was already 18 when I graduated, technically, because my birthday's in September. So I stayed into the children's home all the way. So that summer, so they were able to let me stay that summer till they dropped me off to college. So it depends on like where you're at and what placement. Most of the time, you can stay there until you like graduate and you go to your next step or you find your next step. But there is some places where when you turn 18 and like you're graduated, you have to find somewhere to go. Like,
Right.
you gotta go.
Right.
We need somebody else like to take your bed. You gotta go. So that's usually how it goes. It's they're like in and out. That I can use that bed for somebody else. So we need you to go.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. Yeah. So of the girls that you're taking care of, outside of fostering independence, do most of them they don't have any support structure, right? Outside of you guys.
A lot of them do have contact with family members, but they can tell you that it's not, it's not ideal.
Yeah.
And it's not always good contact. I have one young lady that I'm teaching her how to drive right now, and let me tell you, that's a scary thing to do for all of these girls. I put my life in my own hands. It's just terrifying. I took her out driving, and it was our first time, and so we just drove around the block a couple of times, and I asked her, I said, do you think, because, she talks to her mom occasionally, not super often, and they don't really get along very well. she's here in town. And so I said, do you think she might be willing to help you drive some? And she said, yeah, but she would yell at me the whole time. I thought, okay, like, yeah, that's going to be stressful. That's not something that we want to do. But, there's just only so much of me some days. And so I want to help her get that license quickly. And so that's why I suggested that. And that's a lot of them. It's just, they're not really healthy relationships. And so they struggle with some of that. Support wise, I don't know. I mean, we've got some that have some people that are okay, and then some that don't have anybody.
You know how many, we talked about 1,200 age out each year, right? I think I remember the statistic, but I'm not sure. See if you remember it. So once kiddos hit teenage years, the chances of them being adopted before they turn 18, do you know?
I don't know the statistics, but it's like nothing.
Yeah, no. So I can tell you that a little bit more because I've been in CPS, like I said, my whole life. So I was adopted, and then I was with my adoptive family, and then I was put back into CPS when I was 14. So I've kind of been in it basically my whole life. So when you're young and you are like younger, families want you. They want you because you're younger, you're not a teenager, you don't have to deal with the moodiness and all that. So when you hit around the time of teenage years, you don't go in shelters, 90-day shelters where you can only stay 90 days and then they have to either renew it or you go to another 90-day shelter. Like that's 3 months that I'm living there, and then I have to go somewhere else for 3 months, and then I have to go somewhere else for 3 months.
Yeah.
Because there's not foster homes that accept teens. So a lot of the time, that's why you see teens running away, because they don't want to be there, because they don't want to deal with the rules. That's why there's not a lot of foster homes that take them, because they're scared that they're going to want to run away from their house. So yeah, so when you see teenagers, you don't see a lot of them in homes unless they've been there since they were little. It's hard to get a teen adopted. Very, very, very hard. And I tried. After a year, I was able to be adopted at 15, and I was in the thing to be adopted, but nobody wanted a 15, 16-year-old girl. Didn't get adopted, and that's why I aged out.
So tell us another short story of success. Something you've seen.
So one of our very first young ladies that came to us, we actually went to a meeting. I had only one young lady living in the home, and I took her to a meeting that she had to go to, and there was somebody there that she knew. And so they talked a little bit, and she was telling her, like, hey, you should maybe check out where I'm at, And that girl said, are your house parents nice? And they kind of both looked at me and I was like, And so we talked a little bit, but I didn't expect anything to come from that. And then she reached out, she was interested. And so we went ahead and accepted her. And I learned later that she had actually been living in her car for a year.
Jeez.
And I had no clue, she never would have presented that way. And she'd been sleeping in her car at Medi Park every night. And she was working full time and going to GED classes. So she had all the motivation. She had all the right pieces. She just wasn't sure how to put them all together to get everything going the way she wanted it to. So she lived with us for over a year. And we're graduating high school in May. And we are moving into an apartment tomorrow. So, she is I'm just so proud of her.
Yeah.
We are so proud. She's so dedicated. She's so it's baby stepping, we got to figure this stuff out a little at a time. And when you don't have people in your corner showing you how to do things, and then it's just overwhelming. It's tough.
You got your nonprofit status a year and a half, 2 years ago, is that right?
Maybe a year and a half now.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, we just kind of, once we realized, I'm jumping in with both feet and I'm figuring out on the way down, I was like, all right, we should probably look into something. And a lot of people wanted to help. Whenever we were about to close on the house that I bought downtown, I made a post on Facebook, and I just said, hey, these are the things that we need for this house. This is what we want to do. And these are some of the statistics that we're going to try to, combat here. And so that post got shared like almost 900 times
Yeah.
in the matter of like a few days.
Mhm.
And so, and I didn't have like social media accounts set up for like fostering independence. I didn't have any of that. No, I didn't have anything. I was just thinking, my friends and family, maybe some of them have a connection to a plumber or something that can help us out.
Right.
And I mean, I was bombarded with messages. It was crazy. Like things that we were going to do 6 months from that day had to happen right now. Like I had to go ahead and like get stuff going because people were asking, how can we help? How can we help? What can we do? And I was like, okay, like this is a need that we're filling, and this is something that people care about.
Yeah. So how can the community get involved? What are things that they can do?
So every one of our girls is paired with a mentor. We do one-to-one mentorship. So, you know, if you're interested in mentoring, we always have girls that need a match. And mentoring just looks like, you know, matching up with one of our kids that you kind of get along with, and you can come like twice a month, take them to dinner or just hang out, you know, take them to your house, whatever it is, just so they can have an extra person in their life that's a supportive adult. And just kind of, you know, the more supportive relationships we can have in our lives, the better it is. You know, we don't, and there's so many like in the program that it's hard for me to hit all of them all the time. And so our mentors, we just love our mentors. They just check in with our kids. They take them and, you know, they do all sorts of stuff with them.
So they can
Mentorship is a good one. We have also, we collect clothing all year long. So used clothing, it doesn't matter if it's boys, girls, men's, women's. We collect clothing because we have a partnership with Clothes Exchange where we can take that clothing. Clothes Exchange will sell it for us, and then our girls, we earn credit, and our girls can go shop and pick out things that they like, that they want, that work for them. Most of our girls come in with very, very little clothing. So that's a big thing that people can do. I would really love if we had somebody who wanted to teach our girls how to drive and take that off my plate. That would be a great volunteer position, or even yard work, stuff like that, you know. That's all very helpful for us.
And money.
And money is number one.
Things. How do they get?
You can go on our website. It's fosteringindependence.org. We have links there that they can donate, or on our social media, we have links as well.
So, Jazlyn, tell us what the community support, what it felt like to be out there on your own with nobody versus having folks in your corner. Tell us.
So when I was on my own, I was stressed, overwhelmed, much a break. Like I couldn't breathe. I couldn't get it for air. It was like I was underwater and I was trying and I was fighting to get up, but I couldn't. Like no matter what I did, every time I got one step forward, I was pushed 2 steps back.
Yeah.
So when I have the support people like I have now, like when I have a problem, any inconvenience, I call Amber. That's the first person I call.
Yeah.
So now, like when I got into her program and I learned that I had people and I gained a relationship with all of them to ask for help, that what I was doing necessarily wasn't wrong, that I just needed a little bit of help, and it was okay to accept that help, that it wasn't bad help, it was good help.
Right, and it's not your fault.
Yeah.
And it's not your fault. And a lot of folks tell me that they think that the community just doesn't really care. And my experience has been they don't really know what to do. And then once they're confronted with it, like you said, your post got 900 shares.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember seeing the post and figuring,
yeah, and you call
what the heck is that? What is this? Because I'm very curious what this is. And and so my experience has been, it's not that the community doesn't care, it's that they don't know.
Yeah.
That's a big part of the reason for this podcast is to educate, to tell people, you know, to help connect foster families to available resources, but also to build community around foster and adoptive families, and also point the community to say, hey, here are places and things where you're needed, where these kiddos need somebody, and this is a place where you can serve and help. So money is always big. The mentorship programs they can bring. Where do they bring the clothes?
You can actually just message us and we will pick it up.
Okay.
So you can leave it right on your porch and we'll pick it up from you. And then another thing that we're really excited about launching this year is our program for young mothers. So when we first started this, we didn't realize how big the statistics were for young ladies who've aged out of foster care. 70% of them will be parenting by the age of 21. So that just adds to your struggles.
Yeah.
And so, with so many of our girls, we see it. And so we wanted to create a program. There's nowhere for them right now. So we wanted to create a program where we can help them with those baby supplies and, things that they need, diapers and formula and whatever, just to support them while they're working on stability and supporting themselves.
Right.
So we're actually going to be launching that in May. And so the entire month of May, we're going to be collecting baby items, and we'll have like our Amazon wish list and stuff like that we'll be sharing on our website and on our social media. And then the last day of May, May 31st, we're going to have like a community baby shower at Central Church of Christ. And that will be like where, people can, if they prefer to bring their donation, or if they just want to come love on us and, love on our babies. Could just be a way for, people to come and just celebrate the launch of this program with us.
So we kind of blew past that 70%.
7 out of 10 girls by the age of 21 that age out will become pregnant.
Most of them are single.
Yeah, and actually, when I was pregnant, I was looking for like a program that will take my baby, and the closest one is in Dallas from here. I think that is the only program in the state of Texas that you can take your baby.
To drop off.
No,
To live there with your baby. Yeah,
wow.
no, like the other program I was at before Amber's, when I had stay there.
Right.
So like, there's not places you can go with babies, and you see how much people have babies. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody that I've CPS with, they're all moms. Everybody. There's not one that I don't know that it hasn't had kids, and most of them have like 2 or 3, and they're not even 21. So. Yeah, so that's why I was so thankful for this program, like I said, and I was able to bring Kalani. That was the biggest thing for me was, is my baby going to be okay? And yeah, she's, like I said, she's more than okay. She's a spoiled brat, I am. Yeah.
So, without fostering independence, where would you be?
That's probably really scary to think about.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about that.
Yeah.
I don't know where fortunately, I'd probably be homeless and probably on the verge of losing her to CPS too.
Because I don't know what the statistics are, but a huge percentage of the girls who age out that get pregnant, their kids end up in foster care.
Yes. Yeah. And that's part of we want to really help those cycles,
Yeah, we're also like first time moms. We didn't even, we're not even grown ourselves. We don't know how to raise a kid. So, and this is my first baby. And so there's some times where when I came with them, Kalani was newborn still. She was little, I think about 2-3 months, maybe just turned 3 months old. So she was very, very little when I first moved in. And so I didn't know what I was doing. I would sometimes.
So you didn't have any kind of example anyways growing up in RTCs.
No, I didn't have that, and so there was times where I called Amber, like, when she started to teeth or when she was constipated, and like, what did you do for your kids? Because, like, I was calling all the moms I knew, like, around me, like, people that I've met through Amber that are now, like, my support system that are moms too. Like, one of her workers from AmeriCorps, I called her one day and I was like, what helped you with teething? Because I don't know what I'm doing. She just won't start screaming at me. And so she was able to help me with little hacks to help with teething. So, like, I was very thankful, because if it wasn't for Amber and the support that I have, I don't know where I'm full that I have this place that I can take, like, my baby and have her. And she is, like, loves them to death. Like, as soon as Amber walks in the door, if she doesn't pick her up and go straight to Kalani will scream for her until she comes.
But why would I not go straight to her?
Right?
Yeah.
So, did she get a placement pack?
Yes, I did. She was telling me on the way here.
She said, wait a minute, who is this? And so I was kind of explaining, what you...
Yes.
Yeah, and I said, yeah, they give you this and this. And I was like, wait a minute, you probably got it. It came in the suitcase. She's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I still have that suitcase, actually.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so thank you guys so much for coming on. Guys, if you want more information, website one more time.
FosteringIndependence.org
Okay, and social media.
is Fostering Independence.
Yeah, so are you on?
Oh,
Facebook
we're on
and
Facebook
Instagram?
and Instagram.
Okay, all right. So Jazlyn, speak to the girl who's getting out.
Okay.
What are you gonna tell her?
I know exactly. I'm going to tell her, do not follow my mistakes and just leave CPS straight out.
Right.
I want to tell her that there are people that can support her. There's people that will love her, and there's people that are here to help her so that she doesn't take after me and fail. I want to set her up for success and not failure. I want to tell her that there's programs like Amber's. I want to tell all of the CPS kids that have the girls that have babies and they are in a toxic relationship, or if they don't know where to go after, if they're pregnant right now and they don't have anywhere to go, reach out to us. Reach out, find Fostering Independence and see what we can do for you, because we can help you and your baby. There is resources here in Amarillo for you, and just set you up for success and not failure.
Wow. Well, guys, again, thank you so much, Amber and Jazlyn, for coming on. And I really hope a lot of folks will listen to this episode. It'll drop. First episode drops April 15th, so it'll drop the Tuesday after that. I should have had this beforehand. So this episode will drop April 22nd at 10 in the morning. Thank you for coming on. Thank you to our episode sponsor, I-41st Medical. If you need urgent care, if you need PCP, check them out. They are great. Next week we're going to have Infinity Pharmacy on. They have a program that caters to foster families who have monthly meds like ADHD meds or depression meds or all the things, and they have a great resource. And so tune back in next week, and we appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in to All Things Foster, a place for coffee, connection, and community. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.